Hi guys, welcome back. Market outlook for next week, another important one. What did we see this week? Stock markets, big time, volatile, right? So we had the Nikkei more than 12.4% to the downside before recovering another 10%. Markets are extremely kind of up and moving to the downside. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave your comments under the video if you want us to check out further currency pairs, stock markets, equities, whatsoever. Let's come to our weekly market outlook because this week might be an interesting one. As equity markets are facing a bit of a sharper rebound for now, the question might be, is the positive risk sentiment returning back? Will we see another push in a positive market momentum? Will we see equities running back to way higher levels, and with that obviously kind of cause some positive momentum as the Nasdaq, the S&P, as well as other indices currently talk about and show even more. As we celebrate the German shot put champion in the World Olympics at the moment, Miss Ogunlaye, very sympathetic. I watched it yesterday. We shall see as well if stock markets can really push another big thing as well. And with that said, talking about another rebound in the equities market. The Nasdaq gearing up some sort of momentum. Does it look like the market is going to explode again? Well, we are within a bit of a trend line. We are kind of currently below the 50 moving average. This could be another important upcoming resistance area, right? If the market continues to rise. If we are looking at it from the 50 moving average, which is still quite far away, we shall also put our focus on the weekly chart. The weekly, based on this 50 moving average, right? The market being slightly lower, faced a bit of, or say quite some tremendous downside motivation as early as Monday this week, and now the market towards Friday saw a big rebound, and again it looks like for now upside motivation might unfold here in this market, causing positivity to continue. What is the S&P 500 doing? It's also up and running. We still remain in a little bit of a short position here, so let's see if the market continues higher again, and let's compare this with previous zones. Yeah, so we had this story, right, unfolding quite nicely. Then the market fell to the downside, but let's kind of remove the last line in this hand, because we had something similar. 50 moving average tested, right? Similar story. The market showing upside momentum. I'm with you guys, obviously, on that one. The upside momentum might kind of continue and push the market towards way higher levels. But what if this is not going to happen? What if the market sees some slight upside momentum and then being respected with a resistance area seemingly the same which we had seen in the past here, 2021, after COVID, stock markets moving huge time to the upside when central banks opened their floodgates, and that's exactly where we might say caution could be a kind of what is currently the better choice in markets, despite the current uptrend momentum, right? The Nikkei more than 12% within one trading day. That's a kind of offering downside on Monday. That's offering upside momentum. Now the S&P 500 crying for upside potential, and the likelihood, we shall say, is pretty much there. But whether the market is able to kind of push beyond the limits, facing and celebrating another push to way higher levels, remains the question. The 50 moving average here on the daily chart, this is kind of around the corner. A bit of an upside here might be seen, and now you can't see anything anymore on the chart since I'm messing this up right now, but the upside potential might at least be towards the 50 moving average before the cards are being shuffled again. Another push then, or another fading of this market, is the key takeaway, we might say here. And why that? Simply because the recent trend we just debated showed us something similarly was brewing 2021. So maybe some sort of volatility is going to tell us otherwise that the correction to the downside might resume momentum again. Let's look at the volatility index, short the VIX. It raised the concerns in market participants sharply on Monday. The market was growing, strong momentum on this Monday, right? So Friday last week, Monday to the upside, and now we saw Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday volatility back to lower levels. Is this going to give us some sort of further opportunity potentially? Well, if volatility rises, and again, we are back to low levels. If the volatility rises again, we could see that stock markets, or obviously stock markets, might face a bit of a correction here. Downside momentum, yes, fully aware of this, might work out. We see that the next line here, this next zone basically here, all the way towards the 16, 17 level, might offer some opportunity to basically buy the VIX again to see some sort of setbacks and further volatility in stock markets. Obviously, we shall put next and upcoming figures in our consideration as well. We have numbers from the US. We have the producer price index. This one is coming up as early as Tuesday, 0.2%, weaker compared to the previous reading. If we are looking at the core figure, it's obviously kind of in a lower hemisphere again. Producer prices today, with a slight delay of a couple of months, obviously give us consumer prices, but we also get consumer prices this week. Thursday, this is retail sales will give us one part of the story, and on Wednesday, the consumer prices, which basically consumer price index is obviously kind of something which is expected at interesting levels, slightly lower at the moment, at least for the shorter term figures. The annual one still remaining at 3%. The monthly figure called consumer price index is 0.2%. That is a slight rise. Somehow it is still at regular normal levels, and this might tell us that the upside momentum might be extremely limited, and with that obviously kind of the Federal Reserve is pretty much likely going to reduce rates in September, causing market momentum to be at interesting levels. And then again, dollar weakness, is that now following up? And we shall look into markets. We see that strength in the dollar is potentially happening. The euro might actually cause some sort of correction, right? The market might face some downside motivation and could potentially break to the downside here. The pound itself is also kind of still in a corrective pattern, a breakout not happening for now. And now we talk about the Australian dollar, and that's the key for risk takers, right? Equities rising, I say yes. The Australian dollar also offering supportive trend here. The weekly chart, and we shall take our annotation tool here again. The weekly chart printed a super cool pin bar candlestick pattern. This is a likelihood here. The bulls likely going to fight back this coming week and potentially causing maybe just some sideways pattern initially, to then see that the upside potential, at least towards the next upcoming resistance trend line, the rising red color trend line we still have in the chart. So there you go, upside momentum, Australian dollar gearing up steam, stock markets rising. With that as well, we should look into other markets, as the oil market is kind of at interesting momentum. We have our long position. We entered the markets just down here. We got some nice technical pattern, double bottom, the market rising. Next line in the sand obviously is going to be here, the 50 moving average as the potential next target. And then the next resistance area, which will be another targetable area, is what's coming up next. Support here, resistance there. That's the next boom we wait for the markets to retest. And if that's going to happen, maybe we see the market even rising further. Weekly charts quite nicely bullish. Monthly chart doesn't show us anything much, as we have messed it up right now. But here we go. We are still trading on top of this 50 moving average. And the 50 moving average is in a pretty much sideways pattern. As long as we always find this support area lasting, we might say, hey, why not? Let's see if oil can rise somehow further. Recently, it's been pretty much distracted, talking about the Canadian dollar as well, but also the loonie. The Canadian dollar had weakened. Some of us in our trading group checked this one out here and selling this market right on Monday when this reversal pattern was printed. So short positioning looking cool, not only in the dollar Canadian dollar, but also the euro Canadian dollar, where by the way already one of our targets had been reached. Pin bar candlestick, market weakness celebrated, and the market's support right now might see the market causing slightly some further more weakness to come. But however, the downside at the moment, based on this long-term chart here, the daily, the weekly, as well as the monthly, might tell us, maybe we see a stronger Canadian dollar, which is also kind of supported by rising oil prices. The story, kind of the tandem story, oil rising, Canadian dollar rising, wasn't seen until fairly recently, but maybe we see that this story is kind of coming back right now. Talking precious metals, they are also at interesting levels. Silver looks well supported, and again, this magic 50 moving average causing the markets to potentially rise again further. We shall see if upside momentum is going to resume positive sentiment. It looks like, at least for now, when looking at this market environment here, positive sentiment going to continue. Gold, similarly, if not even stronger, looking quite positive here. Upside potential above this recent breakout that was on Thursday, a push to the upside. Friday slightly higher, and now based on weekly charts, we might say that this market potential here is going to give us a positive sentiment. The week closed in bullish territory with this candlestick, and now if we see some slight correction, we might say this is worth a shot to the upside, or waiting for the market to break. That's not a clear trend line. Waiting for the market to break the highs and then looking for entry opportunities above the high. Vice versa, downside potential and potentially being unleashed below the lows, but the support line is quite far away and the market might actually just never move towards the lows. The oil we talked about. Let's look at the crypto market. XRP, Ripple had gotten maybe to the end of the lawsuit. $125 million they need to pay. The SEC might fight back. They might actually check with the court and kind of extend and prolong that lawsuit any further. However, Ripple is currently being extremely positive, kind of out of the woods, we might say, based on the weakness here. The market is breaking higher. 65 cents, a potential buy stop might be something feasible. Meanwhile, we remain in our long position. Ether looking kind of quite positive. We are slightly below the 50 moving average, but the market's pin bar here, and that's the weekly chart, obviously still today and Sunday markets trading might change this candlestick pattern. For now, so far it looks positive, and that gives us further reason to believe upside momentum is going to continue. We are far away again off the monthly chart, and the daily and shorter term charts look actually not overly bad. Looking at it here from this perspective, that's the falling market trend from earlier this and last week, but the weekly chart looking positive, and with that we might say upside potential could be seen anytime soon. The Bitcoin, however, looks even better as the market remains on top of the 50 moving average and could see upside potential somehow further. That's not a clear one. The recent trend line, the resistance trend line, is where traders might take profits. 70,000, the next line in the sand for market participants potentially to cash out. But stock market positivity, Australian dollar positivity, and crypto markets positivity might help this environment to push back towards higher levels. Last but not least, we got another news event coming up this week. This next week, the Royal Bank of New Zealand not expected that interest rates are being adjusted, right? So 5.5%, they might remain on that note. This is one reason why the Kiwi, as it's called, might continue to rise. The weekly chart last week acted as positive market sentiment. The daily chart still kept by the 50 moving average as a slight falling trend line, but looking back towards the weekly chart, the market's celebrating the rising trend of the support area. The market might celebrate some potential strengthening momentum towards the 50 moving average. That's initial targetable terror here. Then we got higher areas, slightly higher, as this market's trend here might be tested, and that's then obviously kind of one of the next levels. The dollar is the key question. The dollar, the greenback, whether there is further information coming from the Fed could be a game changer. But so far, risk sentiment remaining positive. We see that upside potential in the equity market might continue, and as well, obviously, in the regards to the news events coming up, producer prices and consumer price index from the US. Obviously, for the Federal Reserve, the consumer price index is not the preferred indicator. It's more the deflator figures the Federal Reserve is going to focus on. So we shall see, but momentum looks positive. Stock markets potentially going to rise. Equity markets, kind of as well as the tech sector from the equity market in particular, could lead again. And the Japanese yen, we didn't talk about this. The Japanese yen's falling trend had kind of stopped somehow. Another push to higher levels in regards to the currency pairs with the involvement of the yen. We shall look into this throughout next trading week. Take care, guys. Have a good day trading. See you then. Take care. Bye bye.